where do you buy Dragon Ball cards from? So grab a cup of coffee or some tea and let's dive right in. So I want to show you guys some cards that I've been buying from eBay, and we're going to start off on eBay. So here is some examples and some cards that you're able to buy. eBay has a lot of great deals, a lot of great opportunity to be buying Dragon Ball cards. You can buy graded cards or raw cards, vintage cards. For example, so this card is a Vegeta card, and the reason why I grabbed it is because it's in Spanish, and this card I bought from Mexico. So as far as shipping goes with Mexico, it did become a little bit more harder to buy some of these cards. But for the most part, if you're buying like scorecards or some kind of like vintage cards, usually you're still able to get some from Japan. You're still able to get some hero cards or even divers. I'm going to show you guys another card here that I bought from eBay. So this one is a Majin Vegeta. It did come in a set with the Goku. So but just to give you guys some examples of what is possible to buy on eBay. Now, this is going to be the most obvious answer, is buying from eBay. And everybody's going to tell you, hey, go buy your cards from eBay, which is a good thing. There's a lot of good deals. You're able to go bid on some cards. There's some sleepers in there. You're able to get some really great deals. You're able to negotiate with some of the shop sellers there. You're able to DM them and just try to get some deals going. Also make offers. So eBay is going to have a little bit of everything, and you're able to shop from all kinds of different TCGs, from Masters, Fusion World, Divers, Super Dragon Ball Hero cards. I mean, there's all kinds of different cards out there. Just make sure that you know what card you're looking for, what's the card number, and what set it's from and what year, especially the year, because once you start buying some vintage cards, it gets a little bit hard to figure out, you know, what you're looking for. So the more detail you are about what you're looking for, the better. Now, if you guys need some help with finding some card lists or some card numbers, or just where to find the sets from, including even vintage cards, in my description below, you'll see a bunch of resources. I've literally placed every single card list that you can possibly think of. Any card that you're looking for, whether that's Score, GT cards, or Masters, Fusion World, Divers, it's all going to be there. When it comes to just the vintage stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder. But hey, if you guys aren't having a hard time looking for a certain card on eBay, or you don't know the card number, or you're like, oh, I've seen this art before, make sure to place your question in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to try to help you out. I love a good challenge. I'm always really good at finding things, and this is why I also wanted to make this video, because I just wanted to share all the knowledge that I have and some of the things that I really have to push through in this community to try to learn some things, because a lot of people are not going to try to share things with you. They're going to try to keep things secret. They don't want to share the secrets with you. I don't know why. Sometimes like people are just a little too competitive when it comes to collecting. I do believe in sharing information and sharing what people know and sharing it with others, so that way they get to their collection a little bit quicker, or just trying to finish up their collection. So, but yeah, this is the purpose of this video. So of course, we're going to start off with eBay, and eBay is just very straightforward. You're going to look at comps and everything and just trying to figure out what's going to be the best deal for you and what card you're looking for. Now, let's talk about the next one. It's going to be TCGplayer.com. TCGplayer, it's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with a lot of collectors, because I feel like when you go to TCGplayer, there's no photos, unlike eBay where you're able to see some photos. And when it comes to TCGplayer, it's kind of like a flip of a coin. It might say near mint, but sometimes that shipping, when you get those cards, I've heard so many horror stories. I even have documented some of the cards that I've gotten from TCGplayer, and it's not always the best. I do get why they kind of do that, but then I kind of don't get why. Of course, it's all about saving money and it's all about overhead. So I get that a lot of these sellers, they're trying to save a lot on shipping, because it is pretty cheap. You know, usually sometimes you don't even pay for shipping, or they just kind of include it in the price of the card. But sometimes you'll see like 99 cents. They send it in just a regular postage or regular mail, like a regular letter. And sometimes they send cards without a top loader. So that will be the con about buying from TCGplayer. But I will say that I want to say about 95% of the time, maybe even 98% of the time, cards do come in pretty clean in a top loader, and it does come in some kind of envelope that's a little bit more durable, but I would say the shipping is not always the best. But if you guys are looking to buy and get good deals and really just find Dragon Ball cards in general, TCGplayer is going to be the place that you want to go check out. So for example, like I bought this release event card. This is one of the manga, or one of the Vegetas. This is a beautiful card. It has a gold stamp around, so I was able to get this card off of TCGplayer. It was pretty clean. It was advertised as near mint, and you know, I got what I purchased. And back then, like, you know, these cards were probably about like 25 cents or something like that, maybe 50 cents the max. And with shipping all together, it was probably about maybe 90 cents, maybe $1. But now who knows where the price of everything is now. Of course, everything changes, and the market changes. But now I'm talking about buying singles here. Now when it comes to boosters, it's a different story, because, and even when I was talking about eBay, you're still able to buy some boosters on eBay or TCGplayer. But the only thing about buying on TCGplayer, or just boosters in general, and I was actually just talking to another collector who was telling me like, hey, you know, where do I go buy some manga boosters and things like that? And so the problem is that you just don't know if those cases or those boxes are already unalive. And what I mean by that is, let's say someone bought a case, and let's say they already hit a 2-star, or they hit the top chases of the whole case, and they already know that the rest of the boxes is probably not any other type of hits in there. So they're probably just gonna sell them, and they're gonna sell them to you at a very high cost. So for example, like even like now, any manga boosters are over $1,000 or even $2,000. The only problem with that is that if you go buy something from there, you just don't know if it's from a fresh case. And if it's not from a fresh case, you're most likely just going to get some really low tier cards. And that's the problem. It's just going to be a flip of a coin. And of course, when it comes to opening boxes or packs or whatever, it's always a gamble. But you just want to be able to make the most best sound decision when it comes to buying cards, and especially booster boxes. So TCGplayer, that's the one con that I would say. It would be about like buying boosters or anything sealed or anything in general when it comes to sealed products. But when it comes to just single cards, I will say for the most part, a lot of the sellers there do have really good reviews. And that's the other thing too, is like I really encourage you guys to make sure you guys go and read the reviews. Make sure that there's not only like 2 reviews and they only started a shop and, you know, the market's going up. You just don't know what these guys' intentions are. So you definitely want to be able to buy from someone who does have good reviews, and they just have really good feedback. So that would be like my advice for you. Now let's talk about local card shop websites. I know it's a little wordy, but let's just get to websites, but specifically card shops. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these card shops that are building a website around their products. So like, let's say you just go to Google and you type in Dragon Ball cards for sale or something like that. And let's say that there are some hits from different websites that show that they're selling Dragon Ball cards. Now I'm going to mention 2 websites, and in no way, shape, or form they're sponsoring this video. I'm actually taking the time out to just kind of give you guys an example of what they look like. But let's start with this website called cardboys.com. So they have a card shop based in Texas, and sometimes they add some single Dragon Ball cards onto their website for sale. So this is just a really great opportunity to just kind of see if your local shop, they have an actual website, see if they add some singles online. Also, there's this other one that I wanted to mention, Darksaiyancards.net, but they upload some single Dragon Ball cards up to their website, and they go live every once in a while. So this is just a good opportunity to just kind of look around and see what card shops you want to start saving those websites on your browser, so that way you can refresh or create a list and kind of go down that list and create some kind of list for yourself. Wow, that was a lot of the word list in my video, but create a list of links or add them as a favorite on your browser, so that way you can refresh all these different links and you're able to just see what's available. So that's another way to just kind of get ahead of the market and see. You just never know what people are going to upload. Like, for example, one time I was looking for this Dragon Ball cards from Carboy's website. I refreshed their site. I went into their website, and then I realized, oh, they have the card that I've been wanting for a while, and they just kind of randomly uploaded it into their website. So I bought it. So these are really great opportunities to always just continue to keep looking for those deals. Continue to look for those deals. They're gonna show up eventually. Don't give up on those shops where like they don't upload like daily, but maybe they are uploading maybe every once a week, maybe every other couple of weeks. But you just never know what your card shop or these card shops are gonna do when it comes to just buying single cards. Now let's get into number 4, and I'm gonna talk about the shop app. Now, I don't know so much about Android, but I currently have an iPhone, and there's this app called Shop, and it has like a purple logo or something like that, and it literally says Shop on it. So in this app, you're able to order different things. Sometimes you can order like toothbrushes or all kinds of other different things, maybe like household stuff. But one day I was like, you know what? Let me type in Dragon Ball cards. Let's see if something comes up. And it was so funny because I typed in Dragon Ball Z cards one day, and I seen a list of different shops, even people that I follow that have a shop within the shop website or app, because they use that as a checkout, and that checkout is connected to the app itself. I know it's confusing or whatever, but somehow it's all connected. But I realized that there are some shops on there that they list a lot of their cards in that app. And I've found a couple of deals there every once in a while. Like I found this Majin Vegeta card in there one time. So I bought it, and it was actually pretty cheap too. They do have reviews on there as well. So you're able to shop around and see, you know, what they have going on, and just seeing like how many sales they have. Now, the next one is going to be juicy, guys. So this is the physical locations. Like everybody wants to be able to buy the cards like in person, right? All the other stuff that I mentioned is all online. But let's get to the physical location. So number 5 is, where do you actually go buy cards physically? Now let's start with Walmart. Now you can go to Walmart and you can try and see if there is some Dragon Ball cards, maybe some blister packs, maybe some boxes. Sometimes they have booster boxes. It was very rare that I saw, and for me personally, I live in Hawaii, so a lot of stuff gets sold out really fast, and I was talking to someone in California, and I was saying, hey, go buy cards from Target or something like that, or Walmart. They're like, oh, this is like Scalper Nation, like there's no way I'm gonna find Dragon Ball cards. And for some of you guys that do live in, like, I guess the scalper states, I can understand, because I feel like even in Hawaii, I feel like this is also another scalper state where, like, even if you try to go buy anything, like that stuff is already completely gone. Anybody gets a whiff of anything going viral or anything going up, that stuff is gonna sell out so fast. I never even will have a chance for me to even buy anything. But when Dragon Ball wasn't really, I guess, too popular, which is crazy because I just cringe at me saying that, but unfortunately there's been a lot of people coming into the space and they're just taking advantage and really scalping all these cards in these blister packs. But even back then, I was able to find some blister packs at Walmart, and I'm going to mention Target next, but Walmart will always run out. Like I actually stopped going to Walmart because there's nothing there. Now, along with the actual physical location, I know in the last one of the other last points I was talking about websites. So Walmart does also have a website, so you can try and check out Walmart website and see if there's some Dragon Ball cards for sale there. Once again, read the reviews, be careful, because you don't know what you're gonna get as well. I did try to buy a couple of Dragon Ball cards or packs from Walmart, but the reviews were not that good. It didn't really give me a good feeling, so I didn't buy from there. But I have bought some blister packs from Walmart before, and it has happened. But maybe they're just kind of getting to it before I do, or someone is already buying them before they even get on the shelf. Most likely, that's probably what is happening. Now let's talk about another physical location. Let's talk about Target. So Target, you'll probably get a little bit more of a better chance of finding some Dragon Ball cards. I do want to talk about one more thing before I keep on moving down this list. But this is one product that a lot of people are skipping when it comes to Dragon Ball. So even Walmart or even Target, even your local card shops, when you go physically to these shops or anyone that's selling Dragon Ball cards, people skip starter decks. People skip the starter decks all the time. So let me give you guys an example of the starter deck Vegeta one, and that one actually has it has a bonus pack inside with the possibility of getting an alt art from these characters from Daima. However, there is a pack in there that nobody knows about. It's a loose pack. It's just a single pack of FBO4. And so a lot of people see the starter decks and are like, oh, I don't want the starter deck. But some of these starter decks has an actual booster pack inside the starter deck. And you see, guys, I'm already give you guys the secrets. Like, I don't hold back with what I say and what I talk about. So I want to make sure that you guys are also finding some good deals, finding some of these things that people are skipping, because right now, like even in one of my other card shops, they never really sell even Dragon Ball cards, but they have some starter decks. Now, yeah, you might spend maybe about, I don't know, like $10-15 for the starter deck, but that's still one pack that you're able to get, especially if it's dry in your area. Like if there's absolutely nothing, but there's a lot of starter decks, buy some of those starter decks. Now, of course, be careful. Not every starter deck has a booster pack in it, okay? But I do know Daima has the FBO4 pack in there. And I think the previous one with Mini Goku Daima, that one also has the FBO4. All I'm saying is that there is some possibility of hitting maybe something from the FBO4 series in one of those Daima starter decks. And I'm going to put it somewhere on the screen what those starter decks look like. But those have 2 special bonus packs inside the box. But a lot of people skip that. But Target is going to have a really good deal as well. Sometimes they place it by the, I don't know how your Target is set up, but most likely is going to be by the, where all the medicine is at and all that stuff. It's probably going to be in that area. But also don't forget to also check where you return items. And they usually hold a lot of the booster packs and even booster boxes back there. And you probably find like some Pokemon stuff back there too. So this last time that I went to Target, I realized that they didn't have any Dragon Ball, but they did have like Gundam packs, but they were not on display. They were like back there in some basket. And of course they have a limit, you know, and just know there's limits as well with Walmart and Target. I don't even know about Walmart now. They probably changed their policy. Now I'm going to mention 2 bigger ones that actually most likely have some blister packs. Now let's start with Hot Topic. Hot Topic definitely might have some packs. Now they don't stock up every single day, but once in a while they get some stock. So they started filling up a bunch of blister packs of SBO2 and restocking in a bunch of Hot Topics. A lot of people actually started posting like videos about like how they went and bought a few packs and they actually hit some really good cards. They even found some gold energy markers and they were able to get some really good hits out of them. And that's the good thing about blister packs, is that you just don't know what you're gonna get. It's totally random. You have no idea what you're gonna get or what you're gonna hit on one of those packs. So Hot Topic, there is like, I want to say about a 60% chance you'll find some packs in there. And remember, look for the starter decks as well. Once again, look for the starter decks that might have some, you know, bonus packs. Or if you just want to get the starter deck, that's still pretty cool. If you are looking into playing or even collecting some of those leader cards, because it does come with that leader non-alt art, and you're able to get those and add those to your collection. But yeah, regardless, they're still Dragon Ball cards, even if it doesn't have all these bonus packs. I've gotten lucky. I've actually found some FS09, which is the possibility of hitting a Majin Vegeta alt art card, which I've talked about it in the past few videos. I've actually showed that card. But yeah, there's all kinds of different opportunities and different places to go buy Dragon Ball cards from. Now, speaking of Hot Topic, I believe Hot Topic and Box Lunches might be owned by the same owner or something. I don't know what it was, but it's two different, I guess, places or whatever. They're not inside. They're not together, but it has a separate location. So it's called Box Lunch, and at Box Lunch, you might be able to also find some cards there. Last week, I believe, I was able to see some cards. It wasn't really Dragon Ball cards either, but every once in a while, they will stock with Fusion World, FBO5, or FBO4, some of the older sets. So you just never know when you're going to strike gold in some of these places, and you might be able to find some Dragon Ball cards there. The other place that might have some Dragon Ball cards, and this is actually one set that a lot of people don't talk about, is not the most popular, but it's called Cybercel. And Cybercel is definitely sold at GameStop. Every time I go to a GameStop, I try to look for Fusion World or Masters or anything like that, and you're never going to find that there. However, you might find Cybercel. Now, it doesn't have like these brand or these other newer cards. They're not as scalpable, which is cool because a lot of people don't collect Cybercel. But regardless, if you are in this video for the art, you're gonna like those cards. Cybercel cards are actually pretty decent. So if you guys wondering what those Cybercel cards look like, so they look like this, and it's kind of like a little booklet. And what I like about these cards, and I thought it was interesting, is that it already comes with this sleeve, right? It's already sleeved up, and you can see Goku there. And on the back, on the top right hand corner, you'll see the rarity. So for this one, it would just be a rare. I believe there's a super rare. Of course, there's some kind of secret rare or a top chase of this set, but it's actually a really nice card. You know, if you're looking into and it is also Toei Animation, Crunchyroll card here. So you can see this is Super Saiyan Blue Goku, but you can see it's like a little booklet, and it's really nice and shiny. You can see the booklet there. That's the background. And then there's the card. I believe they were supposed to separate or something. I don't know. But I don't like to take it out too much out of this sleeve and stuff. But I literally just picked up one of these packs over at GameStop. And nobody ever picks those up. Ever. Because they're not as popular as Fusion World. Everybody's going nuts over Fusion World right now. Everybody wants those. But yeah, look, Master Roshi. Let's go. That's pretty cool. If you guys are really in it for the art, I mean, you guys are not gonna mind something like this, you know. So that's pretty cool. And I'm actually looking to get one of the Vegetas. Hopefully I hit that card. I think those packs are probably between 9 to 11. I don't know. Like I said, between 9, 10, maybe $11. But you guys are probably able to get some boosters maybe online, right? So go to GameStop, and maybe you guys can find some booster boxes from Cybercel, because sometimes, guys, is maybe like curing an itch or something. Maybe you just want to rip something, and then you're like, okay, you know, that was cool, that was fun. And that's part of the whole experience, is to be able to open up some booster boxes. And sometimes it doesn't have to be the History of Z or the manga booster, which, don't get me wrong, I mean, I have opened up those boxes before. They're pretty fun. But even opening up this pack right here was pretty fun. There will be in a yellow pack, and you'll see them just collecting dust by like some sports cards. And I guarantee you, if you guys come back to this video, let me know if you guys did find Cybercel packs, and I guarantee you guys did. So once again, just giving out the secrets. Like, I don't like to gatekeep stuff. Not like all the there's all kinds of collectors out there that even when I first started trying to collect, and I was trying to ask questions like, oh, what do you buy this? What do you like? Nobody wanted to say anything. Like, oh, just go to eBay. It's like, okay, but like, where else is there to go buy cards, you know? So for me, that was very frustrating. So I want to keep sharing secrets, and not really secrets to me. Is like, I just want to be able to share the information with you guys, so you guys are able to find these cards. But let's talk about Japanese cards, and let's talk about some of these other websites that you might actually have to buy from overseas. Now, before I dive into this whole like overseas or like buying these cards, just know that there is a lot of changes with even mail right now. So let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about what's going on in the United States. and with also tariffs, right? So when it comes to all that stuff, there's a lot of countries right now that they even stopped sending letters or accepting stuff, or not being able to send anything into the United States. There's a lot of states or countries that are not even, well, more like countries, they're not accepting, or they don't even want to send anything over. They don't want to pay. They don't want to even deal with any of the tariffs. And it's not even just the countries; it's the actual people. Like, they don't even want to deal with the headaches of shipping anything. So, for example, like Mexico right now, like there was a few times where I was able to buy some stuff for cheap before the whole tariff stuff, but those tariffs, it made it really hard for people to ship stuff. And even some people still try to sell some of those cards and send them over to the United States, but sometimes they just get stuck in the port of entry at customs, and so it's all a nightmare. There's a lot of that going on. I have even tried to buy some cards from Mexico, but some sellers, they don't even want to bother anymore, and they don't want to deal with that because, if it doesn't get delivered, the buyer's gonna be like, oh, what happened to my cards? And then they don't want to deal with any of that. So it's gonna be a lot of that. Also, Japan, I believe that they are still shipping, but there was a lot of sellers that actually stopped shipping to the US. And I remember, because I used to have a lot of stuff in my cart on eBay, and I know I'm talking about eBay right now, but I had a lot of things on my cart on eBay, but a lot of them, they're like, oh, they stopped sending stuff to Hawaii or to the US in general. So it says, please add another address that is valid to send this product over to you or to get it mailed to you. And so there's a lot of things that really just, there's a lot of shops that close down to send product over. Some of them have started to come back, but they now add the fee of the tariff on top of the purchase, the taxes and the shipping and all that. So that way, if there's any issues or anything like that, it's already paid for, and you don't have to really deal with that. Like, they deal with that, right? And I know that there's this whole thing that people talk about. Oh, are you gonna put that it's a gift on there? Is it a product? Or are you gonna pay the tariff? So now Japan is actually getting smart as far as like just charging the tax, or just charging that tariff. You pay for it in your purchase, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about it. That card will get to you. So just look out for some things like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and share a couple of places that are overseas, and I do get it. These are websites too. I should have talked about it a little earlier, but I just kind of felt like he had his own section because this is all overseas stuff. There's this website that I used to buy a lot of cards from. Now lately I haven't, but I know they're still shipping to the US. Now, not these specifically. I didn't get these from this website, but it's called Cardotaku.com. So this shop right here sells a lot of Super Dragon Ball Hero cards and divers. So this one I bought from Cardotaku.com. And I remember back then it was probably about like somewhere between like $9 to $10 or something, including shipping. And it was fine. But then with the tariff stuff started happening, they started charging a little bit more. The shipping is up there, especially if you're adding a lot of cards. The shipping is gonna be a little bit up there. I think one of my friends tried to check out at somewhere around $300 worth of cards, and I think the shipping was like between $50 to $60. But it's understandable because tariffs, shipping, and then you're ordering a bunch of cards. Now, what I like about Cardotaku, and I actually have to test this myself, I might have to go check out again and see what's going on. But if you order like a few, and actually now that I remember, it was just about 3 days ago, I went on there and I just added some things on my cart. And I remember that I think the total amount of cards was probably about 5 cards. The total came out somewhere between $45 to maybe $55. But the shipping was about, I think it was something around $20 or something like that, even including the taxes and everything. So it was about $70. Now, what I do like about Cardotaku is the prices of some of these cards. Now, someone was telling me like, oh, instead of going to Cardotaku, go to some of the prices that they have on Cardotaku. You might be able to find on eBay. So before you go and you're like, oh my God, I got to go to Cardotaku right now. Make sure before you buy those cards, you match the price on eBay first and see if they don't have it on there first, because sometimes eBay, they will sell the cards for about the same price that's sold on Cardotaku. Now, I started going to Cardotaku sometimes for some of the secret rares, and things like that, because sometimes on eBay they're very unreasonable. Like sometimes their prices are way out of this world, and it's like all speculation pricing. And Cardotaku has actually been pretty fair on where they're pricing their cards. So like always, make sure you have your list of all these websites. You refresh, you compare prices, and see which one you're gonna get a deal from. But I have nothing bad to say about Cardotaku, and they have been sending some pretty good cards. And when they say it's near mint, it's near mint. And and actually their shipping is like top notch when it comes to shipping. That was my experience. I'm just saying that from experience. But I have bought a lot of my Vegeta cards, especially hero cards, diver cards, and then now of course I'm starting to find some of those on eBay. But yeah, Cardotaku, don't sleep on that website. There's another website called TCG Republic, and that one is a little bit different. It kind of looks like Cardotaku, but it does have hero cards. I think it might even have some Masters cards, and maybe even some Fusion World cards. But remember, Japanese, all of that. Make sure you guys take a look at what their shipping is and what taxes, and then also of course tariffs. It's all going to be added on there, so make sure you go. Make sure you guys don't make the purchase until, of course, you guys will see the total of what that is. So there will be no surprises. Before I move on to the other two sections, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell, so that way every single time that I drop a new video, you get notified. If you have any questions or you would like to see something else on my videos, make sure to comment in the section below, and let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about Whatnot. Oh my goodness, Whatnot is wild, guys. And I kind of had a little bit of a hard time sharing this. The only reason why I'm sharing Whatnot is because there are still some really good people in there, and that's the only reason why I'm sharing it. If it wasn't for some people that I do like in that app and they run their business with integrity, otherwise I wouldn't have shared Whatnot app. Now, there's a lot of things going on in Whatnot. If you don't know the pricing of cards, if you don't know like how much some of these cards are selling for, what was the last sold, if you don't know how to comp cards, I would stay away from Whatnot. And the reason for that is because if you go start buying cards from there, you're going to start bidding against other people that are very familiar with the cards, and you don't want to catch yourself overbidding on cards. Now, people on there and some sellers on there, they're famous for pumping some of these cards. And sometimes these sellers lie about the value of the cards. So you want to make sure you are very, very careful on Whatnot. I feel like Whatnot is one of those places that is really good for people that are very, very savvy. But that's why resellers don't like me. They don't like my content because I'm trying to educate you on how all this stuff works, how to comp cards, what's available out there, and just the true value of cards. And I'm giving you guys all the secrets. And this is what happens is that every time that you add more tools to your belt, they don't like that. They don't like that you are more savvy. If you start questioning resellers on Whatnot, they do not like that, and they will kick you out. That app is so toxic, and there is a lot of negativity on that app. It's just insane. But the only reason why I'm mentioning this app right now is because I want to push past that, because there is some really good people on that app. So Whatnot, you go to their lives and you're able to see all these resellers just kind of putting up cards on for sale. Sometimes they put up the whole price of the card, or you're able to bid on the card, or what they call it dollar start. And when they dollar start a card, of course, you know, the next guy goes $2 and $3 and $4. And next thing you know, you're paying like $10 for shipping, and it was for a $5 card, and then now you're like $15 or $20, like, you know, out of your pocket. So there's two ways to find cards for sale on Whatnot. One, you can go to the search bar and you can type in the card number, or just type in Dragon Ball cards. And a lot of these shops do have their cards as a listing or up for sale on the app. But for the most part, people are just dollar starting a lot of these cards, and people are just bidding up. So a lot of these cards end up in bidding wars. Now, if you go on this app, I would just be careful, shop around, read the reviews, make sure you ask other collectors, and don't ask the shop seller like, hey, like, you know, don't even engage with them. Try to ask other customers. You're probably gonna run to some of them over on Instagram, and you're probably gonna be able to see some of those customers that they have bought from those shops before, and just see like, hey, what was your experience like? You know, how long have you been buying them from or for, and just kind of get a feel of that seller. Now, me, you know, and for me, if you guys have been following me on my Instagram page, I mean, I'm always catching smoke with these guys online, and they just don't like me, which is hilarious. But anyways, I just thought I say that because I'm not really liked in that community, and a lot of people are really always talking about me and stuff. But it's because, you know, I do believe that people should know what they're buying. You know, if there's a card that is only worth $12, the seller should not be saying, oh, this card is worth $25. Like, based on what? Where's the facts? And that's another thing too, is like, if they really get so defensive on you looking up the prices and they're saying otherwise, or they start blocking you, or like, oh, you know, that's not true, or they start ignoring you, just move on to the next shop. Because there's gonna be a lot of people on there. They're just trying to take advantage of a lot of new people coming into Dragon Ball, and they're gonna just say, "Oh yeah, this card is worth a lot more." Or you have your typical, "Oh, that's the lowest listing," you know. And I don't even want to get into all of that. This is not a video about comps, but you're gonna have people that are gonna say, "Well, if the lowest listing is like, let's say 500, but the last sold was only $150." There's some of these guys on Whatnot that will tell you, nope, that card is worth $500, like, and they will stick to that. And that's just a fairy tale number because nobody has paid for it, but they're waiting for people like you to make sure that you actually pay for that. Now, I am gonna make a video about all comps. I actually have made some videos off of my Instagram page about comps and how to do that. But just know, guys, just be careful on that app. But you still are able to find some good deals on there. I mean, I have bought some cards on there. I do follow a few people. I have bought some vintage cards from there as well. And like I said, that's the only reason why I'm making this video, because I'm not going to say that I've never bought from there. I have bought from some people there, but I just don't go on there all the time and trying to find deals all the time, because once again, sometimes it just irritates me when I see people being taken advantage of, especially new people coming into the space. And so they're just going to assume you don't know anything, and they're just going to tell you, oh yeah, it's worth $500 when last sold was $150. So, but anyways, that was my rant for Whatnot, but I'm going to add it to the list. All right, so let's talk about the biggest pages, and I believe that this is where you're probably going to do a little bit more legwork. But you can find some really great deals here, and it's gonna be on Facebook groups and also on Instagram. But let's go ahead and start with Facebook groups, because I believe that Instagram is probably gonna be the best bet. So Facebook groups, the only thing is on there is that a lot of people that post there in Facebook groups, it's gonna be like Fusion World something or Score Panini type of groups. There's some really good people in there, but there's a lot of people that go in there and they just scam people. So let me tell you guys about a scam that was running around on Facebook. So there was this guy who actually tried to scam me too. But if you go on Facebook, there was this guy who actually created this one profile. Actually, he had a good profile, and he just seemed legit. He did, I believe he did Venmo business for the payment. And so what he did was he used to sell you like low tier cards first and build your trust first. And then he'll hit you with a little bit of a higher tier card and hoping that you would buy that. And I remember being like, oh, I wonder why he switched profiles. And I realized that one of my other friends, he bought from him the second time around. And he said, yeah, man, after I sent him that second payment for the second tier card, he ghosted me. And so there's some people that are pretty iffy on Facebook. But here's some question that you kind of want to ask on Facebook is, you want to make sure that like, hey, do you have people that can vouch for you? Who are they? Let me go DM them. You DM these other people like, hey, have you bought from them? What did you buy from them? whatever you do, don't do Cash App, don't do friends and family on PayPal or anything like that. And then also I have heard some things about PayPal goods and services where like sometimes you can't get your money back because it is a resale product. I've heard stories about that too. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you just do your homework, do your due diligence, look up the reviews, see how many sales they had in the group. There's some groups that have been getting better at like vouching and like actually creating a list now of like trusted sellers. But for the most part, a lot of the other groups, they're not catching on, and it's just the wild west out there. Now you can probably find some good deals. Have I bought cards from there? Yes, but I did a lot of homework. And actually, for me, I've been lucky enough because I'm gonna knock on wood, but I will say that I haven't gotten scammed yet. Now, for the most part, everybody who I bought from there, I did my due diligence. I asked the questions. I did the PayPal business or the goods and services, so I can probably maybe make my money back if this guy decides to run. I make sure that I look at their profile, make sure that it has some age. You know, it's been around for a little bit. It just didn't start like 5 months ago, or they didn't just get on like yesterday and they started a new profile. They had a little bit of history, but just kind of watch out for some of those resellers or some people that are selling their cards on Facebook. But can you find deals on there? Yes. Is it always trustworthy? No. And that's why you got to do a little bit of that homework. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about Instagram. This is one of those places where I have found some really great deals. And the reason why I like Instagram so much, one, there's a little bit more history and a lot more video content. And you can see that they're engaging, they're posting on their stories. So they're real people, right? So at least you know that, they're real people. They're in the States. They're sharing, they're going to a restaurant, or like they're sharing their daily life, and they share some content. So you already know that they're real, and they're just not someone from overseas and they're trying to scam you or anything like that. Now, the other thing that I like about Instagram is that people are constantly posting a bunch of listings on stories. Now, stories is where the sales happen, and that's where a lot of the good deals can be. You can obviously still negotiate with the reseller right away. You probably can get them a little bit cheaper because remember, the goal for a reseller is to cut down costs. They don't want to post these cards on eBay because they have to take a lot of their cut from that sale, right? So they don't want to pay those fees. So for you to go there on Instagram and deal with these people, you're dealing directly with a seller. So you will most likely get a little bit of savings when it comes to buying some single cards. I've been able to find some cards that I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know I was going to be able to find that card again. And I was able to buy it right there on Instagram. So like, hey, how much you want for it? Like, okay, let's do PayPal in business or whatever. And of course, over time, you start building a little bit of trust. So then you can probably start doing some Cash App, and you just send them the Cash App. But here's the thing. What I love about social media and what I love about Instagram, the last thing that these guys want, they don't want any beef. They don't want any drama. They don't want you to go out there and tell people, hey, they did a bad job, because it keeps them accountable. The last thing that they want, they don't want 100 people tagging them, letting them know that they did a bad job, because they will find out. Instagram will be a great place to also buy, sell, if you want to get rid of some of your cards as well. One other thing that people don't talk too much about is trading. And the reason why I love Instagram so much is because you're able to talk to other collectors and you're able to trade some cards. So for example, I was able to buy these 2 cards from Instagram, and actually I was able to buy it from a couple of other creators on there, or other people that do run other card shops and other avenues such as Whatnot or even eBay. And so I just wanted to say that Instagram is a great place to buy cards. It already has that built-in trust because people are creating content, and it does keep people accountable. Because the last thing that they want, like I said, is they don't want you to be saying, anything negative about them, or leaving your review and saying, hey, I had a really bad experience with this seller, right? They definitely don't want the bad attention. And it's actually a good thing, because unlike if you go to, let's say, Whatnot, they can just block you and that's it. That's that. But at least on Instagram, it puts the pressure if they do a bad job. So that's why I do like Instagram and doing deals there, because there's that layer of security for you in case anything happens. Now, I'm not saying that business should be that way, but unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of people that try to take advantage of people, and I just don't like that. I don't like when new collectors come in, or when, you know, especially when there's some sellers that they don't keep their word, and they say that they will do something, or they just don't come through for some new card collectors that are coming into the space, and they're just like, oh yeah, you know, they're just brushing people off, and I'm just not okay with that. To me, it's about also defending customers and also defending you as a new collector in the Dragon Ball space, because, you know, even videos like this, they will never do this stuff. They will never tell you where they go buy cards, where do they get the deals from. I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but I will say that this is really my motivation of making this video, is so that way you get the resources that you need to finish your collection, or at least just get started, and somewhere that is reasonable for you, for your budget. And yeah, that's my whole main purpose for this channel. And if you guys have been liking my videos so far, make sure you guys check out one of my videos around the screen. I talk about other things that have to do with Dragon Ball. Thank you guys all so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next video.